A squad update, how's everyone looking? How's Stuart Finlay?
Well, Stuart got to hospital Sunday night after the game quickly. Thankfully there's no dislocation or fracture, which was our first concern, but he's got severe ligament damage. We've had him scanned last night. We still to get the results of that scan to give us the clear picture, but we're going to be without him for probably, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months. There's no doubt about that. Got some severe damage. He's been a wee bit fortunate. We managed to, the doctors at Dundee and our staff managed to get the back into place, but it was a painful one for him. So it's a blow for us. I mean, it's like a big player for us, the defender who plays every week for me and has got such a huge influence in the team. He's been almost perfect since he came to the club. So a real blow for us, but we need to deal without important players at some stage in the season, and we're going to have to cope with that, and it's somebody else's opportunity to go and play more regular whilst Stu's out. So hopefully we get some good news and decent news on the scan, but he won't be seen for a while yet.
Obvious question, but how is he? You know, it's a difficult one.
I spoke to him yesterday. Quite like to gas in the air, to be honest. He was talking about that, but he's trying to be philosophical about it. We know injuries happen. He is gutted, no doubt, and we just need to wait. Hopefully we get a favourable outcome. I mean, it could be a difference of maybe 7 or 8 weeks depending on the scan, so it could be from 2 to 3 months to 4 to 6 months potentially for the worst case scenario on the scan. So it's still up for debate, that, and hopefully gets a wee bit of good news, and that's what both of us are kind of talking about and kind of hoping for.
Do you just feel that this is another, barrier, another stumbling block that you need to go overcome? It seems as if you don't get a break really.
No, but what happens, it's I think managers will have to deal with that. I've coped without key players before, and there's no point in crying about it. We just need to deal with it as we go along. Stu, as I say, has almost been perfect for us. It's equivalent of Carter Vickers coming out of Celtic team for that team. That's how big an influence he is. You see key players and key positions, but like I say, it's up for others now to go and step in and take on that responsibility that he's shown for us since he came to the club.
What did you make of Celtic last night? Take it, you
thought they won the bad,
they make it easier.
Yeah. No, listen, I think Celtic. I thought it was a top class performance. I think they're clearly improving. I think. Thought there was a maturity about the performance against a top class opponent. It wasn't so long ago I could hear all the pundits, and not all the pundits but a fair majority, saying that Celtic just can't match a top Bundesliga team after the Dortmund game. It's just not possible to do that, and you see last night that is the case. Rangers did it 2 or 3 years ago in the European run, beat top class German teams, and you need to be so confident with your work, so good with your work, and I thought Celtic were that last night. Obviously we've seen 2 versions, different managers approach Celtic games the last couple of games. Aberdeen go and kind of sit off, work from shape at Hampden, and Celtic still are devastating with the scoreline and how they managed to breach you. And then you see Leipzig last night really coming after Celtic and try to press them. So it was 2 different types of approaches from managers and clubs with a lot of good players, and Celtic still got the desired outcome. I think from our point of view, we take confidence for the fact that we have had some good results against them last season. We have got to try and be the best version of us to get results against Celtic as we did last season. We had to do so much right in the game. We are not daunted by it as we're in the same league. We've got a home fixture against them. It's up to us to go and try and make it difficult for them, but there's no doubt that they're improving, and there's no doubt it's going to be a huge challenge. I do think they present the biggest challenge for all managers in the league, and they have done now for a period, and certainly on the pitch my players will have to make so many good decisions on the pitch, in and out of possession. We have to be so organised, but we also first and foremost have to be confident in ourselves that we can get a result, and it's important that Celtic see that. They've got to feel that on Sunday. And hopefully, as I say, we can be good enough to make things at the very least uncomfortable. And if we can strike the first blow and get that first goal and get the confidence from that, then that's something we're going to try and do, of course, in the game.
Just speaking to Brad there, talking about these matches against the Old Firm, especially here, he was admitting that this place, comes alive when these big teams come here, and there's no fear. There's a confidence that you can match them, you can go and maybe not go to toe with them, but certainly, as you said, make life difficult for them. That must give you a confidence you can go into this one the same.
Yeah, I think you've got to try and be that. I mean, to try and do that for 90 plus minutes is difficult from a physical output, but there's certainly got to be moments where you've got to try and feed off that. The place will be full, it's live on Sky, it's a proper game, it's like it's the type of games everybody wants to be involved in. We've got to try and make it, as I say, uncomfortable, and to make it uncomfortable we need to play well. So the intention's for us to play well, and the intention's for us, it's my job as manager to give my players and my team the best chance to win the game, and it's up to me how to set us up and how our approach is. And our approach won't be to sit back and just hopefully watch Celtic dictate and enjoy the game. There'll be times when Celtic's quality forces that, but it's not through design. And in those moments it's important that we are comfortable with that, comfortable when we're not really getting after them, and it's getting that fine balance, to be honest. But we've got to go and pick a team that we feel can cause Celtic problems at the same time, and that will be the intention.
Let me ask you about Sunday. Was it particularly disappointing, not just because you were from a winning position, but you'd been getting some points on the board, building a bit of momentum? Was that a tough element of it?
Well, we went into the game with 1 defeat and 8. We'd obviously a couple of those games recently, beating Rangers here, winning at Tynecastle. It was our third away fixture in a week, and we thought long and hard about taking it, but we didn't want to fall behind. We were already behind the fixture with 1 or 2 teams, and we utilised that weekend to play the game. We were good in the game. It was probably as good as we've played against Dundee, to be honest, and we did so much right in the game, but we were guilty of losing a couple of sloppy goals in particular. And it just shows you in football, it's sometimes, the game's never over, and we've got to make sure we play the whistle. We've tried to, I thought we were a team that looked more likely at one stage, but it's a sore one, and you have to overcome the disappointment from that. Listen, I think we're a point worse off than we were last season, and we had such a strong campaign. The balance of the fixtures, we've had 7 away games out of 11, and a couple of home games, have been tough ones. Obviously with Rangers recently, we've got Celtic next, so once the season plays out, we feel we've got the players here that can hopefully improve on last season, and we've seen elements of that at different stages this season already, but it's up to us just to keep finding that consistency, keep picking up results. 3 points from 3 away games isn't perfect, and we get that, but we know that when we're at our best, we can win games of football against anybody, and we're looking forward to the rest of the campaign, and particularly this game on Sunday.
And you mentioned the Leipzig and Aberdeen approach to Celtic. Have you taken, when watching both games, have you taken anything from how the teams approached it and tried to do something different? Yeah,
I think you've always got to look at your opponent's recent games and maybe how other managers approach it, and it's interesting for me, but from watching Atalanta against them, to Aberdeen, to Leipzig, and teams that have different approaches, but obviously these approaches are made with their own team in mind, and that's what I've got to I can't try and make my team somebody else. This is what we are, and it's just try to look for those little nuances and little things in the game that can maybe help my team find an advantage. And but for us, it's important that we just try and maybe the reference more on last season a lot of the time when we caused Celtic problems home and away. We picked up a few good results against them, and hopefully we can be that team again on Sunday.
And what differences are from the Celtic last season to the Celtic you might face on Sunday then?
I think probably more familiarity. I think Brendan, with his own admission, was without Carter Vickers for a long spell. They were having to deal with maybe wider players maybe not being quite at the level, certainly than they are now. I think Kuhn and Maeda are top class wide players. They've got good options through the middle of the park, so I don't know if there's any difference. I think that probably that's just familiarity and the manager having a little bit longer to work with his team and maybe getting key players back from injury, because I think he was having to deal with that a lot of the time last year, but I think they were still good enough to win the league, and they're still the team that poses teams like ourselves, and every manager the most challenges, but they're obviously coming down here in good form and a good frame of mind, but football can change quickly, and it's important for us to. I think they'll expect a tough game. I think they'll expect a certain type of game, in fact they will. So and it's important that we give them at the very least that.
And just apart from Stuart Finlay, is there any other problems or concerns at all with the team?
Yeah, Danny Armstrong's got a hamstring issue, had to come off against Dundee on Sunday. Felt it slightly before the game, felt it during the game, felt it a bit more at half time, and it was clear that for me he had to come off. So Danny's a doubt for the weekend, unfortunately. Stuart Finlay's is out. Everybody else is fit and ready to go.